Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Batgirljamie Show. If you're watching from YouTube, can you please hit that subscribe button and become a member of the Bat Fam and hit that bell so I can know that you like music talk type of videos that I'm going to be doing. And if you're watching from Twitch, welcome to my Twitch stream. I just started. If you want to know if you want to hear what I got to say about it, I'm going to tell you if I know who they are and if I like their singing voice and if I think they deserve to be on this list. If I don't know who they are, then they probably are good, but I just don't know who they are. And I'm going to tell you if Celine Dion made the list, because I've heard Celine Dion didn't make the list. So I'm going to tell you my opinions on them and see if I agree that they should have been on there or if I thought they should be higher or lower. But we're going to start this. I'm going to double check and make sure my sound's doing good by going to YouTube and making sure the sound's working on this stream, because I don't want to give you guys a stream that has no sound. And if you guys are in here watching, could you please give me your opinions in the comments? We want an interactive stream. Could you please give me Okay, I'm going to share this. We're going to share this around so we can get some good views on this. Okay, now that I shared this around and got it out there, we're going to go and see about more. Okay, we're going to start this now. Now that I know my stream is working good, we're going to go to okay, we're going to pull this up. We're going to start with number 200. Number 200 is Rosalia. Not really sure who she is. She must be a newer singer, but she's pulled enough rank that, you know, I think something that makes them stand out is that they can perform and they actually do more than just stand there and sing, because that doesn't make them stand out in my eyes. So I'm not familiar with her, so we'll just say okay. Glenn Dancing at 199, I say yes. He's the original lead singer of the Misfits. He's done so much, and he's very influential in the punk world, and I love him. Okay, I'm drinking coffee out of this mug here. If you haven't seen it, I wanted to show you guys. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is up so I can see the chat. I don't know why this does this. I can't see the chat. if you're live. This is being so stupid. Okay. Okay, it's bringing up the live chat. I just want to make sure the live chat was going and working. Because for some reason it wasn't working. Okay. The next one is Billie Eilish, and yes, I definitely think she should be on here. I think she's incredibly talented. She is more than just a singer. She absolutely makes you feel good about watching her. Now, Burna Boy is a Nigerian cultural giant. This is 197, and he sang the song Anybody and Last. He was hip-hop and R&B, hooky pop, and dance hall music. And I can't... Okay. The lead singer of the replacement is 196, Paul Westberg. I don't think they had a picture. I don't think they had a picture of Luna Boy on here, and they didn't have a picture of Billie Eilish either. Okay. Paul Westberg. Gary's Got a Boner was Fuck School and Unsatisfied. Within Your Reach was his most popular songs that he sang. And I'm really not that familiar with them, but I think they were good. Next one was Polystyrene. She was a lead singer of Londonder's X-Ray Specs, was a heckler and crooner, and she lit up the stage, and I'm not really sure who she is, so we're going to move on. Now 94 is Kelly Clarkson. She's very talented. She actually has charisma. Something when you see someone like Celine Dion, she didn't really pull off the charisma that I like, that most memorable. See, if she didn't do this, I feel like if Celine Dion didn't do the Titanic song, she would have just been forgotten. But that was her only claim to fame. Now, Kelly Clarkson did a lot of good songs, and Since You've Been Gone was like her best song that I really, really like. Then we got 193 is Brandy. I love Brandy. She's charisma. She can dance a little bit. She's got that charisma in her face, and she smiles. I Want to Be Down, Sitting Up in My Room, The Boy Is Mine. Those are three of my favorite songs in high school. So Brandy is a yes for me. The next one is Honey. He is a mid-90s, has possessed a singular place in the pop music. He was collaborating with the likes of Yoko Ono and Bryce Denser, which I don't know who Bryce Denser is. His songs, I Want to See the World, I Want to See It Boil. He was like, I'm not really sure anything about this person. I've never heard of him. But if Rolling Stone says he's good, he's probably good, because they usually pick really good. Okay, Jungkook from BTS. I say yes, because when I've heard them, their vocals are really good, and they're flashy, and they make a statement, and they stick out. So he would be a yes to me, even though. And the one song, they have a song called Hot Like Butter or something like that. That's the only song I know. He said they do a song with Charlie Puth, who's pretty good, and does the song Left and Right. Now 190 is Frank Ocean, and I know he's pretty popular, and he's enough to stick out, so I say yes, but I'm not that familiar. Joan Baez was very popular in the night, and she was the most popular folk artist of the 60s, and she was appearing on Saturday Night Live, but I don't know any of her songs, but I know she was charismatic enough to stick out. Fela Kuti is number 188. He's an African highlife. American soul and jazz is the type of music he does. And I'm not really sure who he is because I don't listen to that type of music, but he must be charismatic enough to stick out to make people notice him, so I say yes. Bonnie Raitt, I say yes because she's multi-talented. She sings and can play guitar really, really well. And the Something to Talk About is kind of a catchy song and rememberable. But I'm not really that big of a fan of her. But then we've got, at 186, we got Ofra Haza. And she looks like one of those 80s singers. And she has fashion and she's really, looks like somebody that would stick out. So I say yes, based on her looks. 185, I say yes, because Alicia Keys sticks out in her performances. She's had more than one song that stuck out to me and is memorable for those songs. And No One is one of her most memorable songs by me. And then My Boo is another song that I remember. So I remember her for doing collabs with other artists and being like very stick-outable and memorable. So I say yes. Now 184 is Karen O, and that is from the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. And I'm not really that familiar with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, but I know they're very popular, and I know that band has a lot of fan following. And it just seems like Korean American kid who grew up idolizing Sam Cooke, who became a famous singer, who, because she's like a mix of Sam Cooke and Susie Sue, which, if that's the case, and that's how they describe her, then I say yes to wanting to check her out. 183, Solomon Burke. Solomon Burke was a R&B singer in the 60s. Just Out of Reach was his big hit. And he must have been that something great, or they wouldn't have put him on here. So I can't give you an opinion on him because I don't have no. Jasmine Sullivan was from 2008. Bust Your Windows was her big song. She was born in Philadelphia, and The Other Side was one of her other songs, and I'm not really familiar with her, so I say okay. If you're in here watching, could you please... Okay. 181 is Bob Seger, and I say yes because he sticks out. He doesn't just stand there. He's really entertaining. And he does a lot of songs. I know a lot of people that were from the 70s really like him. And they say he gives a good concert. So I say yes to him. Now 180, I say SZA, and I say yes because I know some people that say she's a good performer. She's from New Jersey. Her real name is Solana Rowe, and I'm not really sure about any of her songs. I've never really listened to them, so I can't give an opinion on her because I've never listened to her music yet. Now Martha Wash was from the Weather Girls, and the Weather Girls stuck out. And she went along to sing on several other artists' songs besides It's Raining Men for the Weather Girls. She was included in Black Box's Strike It Up and Everybody, and in CNC Music Factory's Gonna Make You Sweat. So, and she's been influential in having a good voice for them. Then we got Taboo Le Rochereau. And he's number 178, and I'm not sure who he is. Patti Loveless made 177, and yes, I say yes, because she's one of the best. She's got some of the most memorable songs of the 80s and 90s, or 90s, with Chains, Timber, I'm Falling in Love, and she was inspired by George Jones and Ralph Stanley, and she's won several awards. 176, I say yes, because they're very, very, very charismatic on stage. and have a very good stage presence and a lot of great songs, and they're a pop artist. 176 is Iggy Pop. Hi, if you're just walking in, Iggy Pop is 176. And Iggy and the Stooges were really good with her, and their best song was probably my favorite Stooges song or Iggy Pop song. I don't know if it's a Stooges song or an Iggy Pop song, but is The Passenger, and I love the song I Want to Be Your Dog. I like how unique and different he is. So yes. 175 is a yes for me. It's Lana Del Rey. I love the song that she does with Taylor Swift, Snow on the Beach. And what's the other song that she sings? Summertime Sadness. I love her melodic voice. That's what I like about her. 174 is legend himself, Buddy Holly. He sang the song Oh Boy, and Don McLean's American Pie was about his death. There's a song Raining in My Heart, and there's just a bunch of really good songs that he sang that in his 3 years of being a musician, he influenced so many people, and he's so memorable, and people still remember him today. And they remember him for being so good, and that makes me say yes. I really like his old music. Then we got Maureen Faithfull, and she's at 173, and she was from the 60s and early 70s, and she had her album called Broken English, and I'm not really sure who she is. Then we have, who's this? John Gabriel. Juan Gabriel. He was a Mexican singer, and I think he's the first LGBTQ community person on this list. And his song is You Don't Need to Talk About What You Can Already See. He had sass and charisma, and that's probably, people with sass and charisma in their performances really stick out to people, and that's why he's probably on here. Odetta was 171, and I'm not really sure who Odetta is, but I'm pretty sure she's a folk, and she's a folk singer, and she was influenced by Nick Cave and Bob Dylan, which are two very, very, very influential artists in that kind of music. And she liked Randy Newman, who did the song You Got a Friend in Me from Toy Story. That's his claim to fame, and I like him. He sticks out, and Paul McCartney sticks out too. I'm very, very good at that. Okay, number 70 is Chris Stapleton. He's not my particular favorite or my particular type of music, but as far as him having charisma and his own set of style, I commend him for that. And his claim to fame is Sometimes I Cry, and his remake Turn to Blues version of George Jones's Tennessee, the George Jones and David Allan Coe's Tennessee Whiskey. Them are two of the more popular versions of it than his. Then we got Sylvester in 1976. Sylvester James, who died of AIDS. An out gay man at the time, when even Elton John would cop only to bisexuality. A black innovator in the 70s and 80s. He had high energy, and his songs he had was I Need You and Over and Over. And he was very popular, but I don't really remember him because he must not have been in my type of music I like. Now, 168 is someone I stand behind, and I love dearly, and I even have buttons of her band, which is Debbie Harry, the lead singer of Blondie. I love the song One Way or Another, Heart of Glass, Hanging on the Telephone. There's bunches and bunches of. Even have them on vinyl, and I love her. She is a stand, and I stand by her. She's a very talented, very beautiful, and very charismatic. And she broke in the new wave scene and broke past it. And for that, I love her. Now, 167 is not a genre I particularly like, but he's very charismatic, but he's not somebody I particularly like because I'm not really into that Latin type music or whatever you call it, Latin pop or whatever you want to call it. It's Mark Anthony. But he is charismatic, and he does have his moments. And he did have a couple of good songs back in the 90s. Now, 166 is the lead singer of the Smiths, Morrissey himself, and Morrissey is inspired 80s teen misery. And he has such good songs like Cemetery Gates, Sing Me, the song Asleep. I love that song. I like There's a Light That Never Goes Out. I used to listen to that song all the time. He worshipped female singers like Dusty Springfield and Joan Armad Treading. I can't say that singer's name. I don't know how that's said. But there's a lot of songs that they did, and I love them. And one of the songs that I really like by them, there's just so many good songs by them. I would love to see him sing live. He's just a really charismatic performer. Next one is 165, is Ronnie James Dio. Now, Ronnie James Dio is very talented. He's an ex-Deep Purple guitar. He once joined ex-Deep Purple guitarist Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. And he was also, I think, a member of Black Sabbath, if I'm not wrong. He helped them regain early glory in the Wakes when they split up with Ozzy Osbourne himself, and he's the king of that type of music. And Ronnie James Dio's Holy Diver is such a great song. It's one of my favorite songs. I just really, really, really like him as an artist. He's a good artist, and he definitely deserves to be on here because I like his style of rock singing. And number 164 is Sandy Denny. Sandy Denny, buttery. They got a buttery mystical croon. It's a timeless, and he's a 60s folk revival, and making her a perfect choice to appear on a song about Middle Earth. She was on the Battle of Evermore by Led Zeppelin. She died in 1978 at age 31, making her obscurity all the more alluring. So I don't really know her from anything else but being on the song Battle of Evermore, but that song is really talented. Bobby Blue Bland is number 163, and he's a classic, and he sings like I'll Take Care of You. He was from he looks like he was from the 50s or 60s. He was with everybody from Otis Redding, Van Morrison, Bonnie Raitt, and all that, and Greg Allman. Said he had a one-of-a-kind voice, and there you go. Now, Francois Hardy was 163, and she was English, German, and Italian. Oh, she recorded in English, German, and Italian, and she had a breathy, deep pan alto voice. And she did a take on Leonard Cohen's Susan. And I'm not really sure who she is, so I don't have an opinion on her. Brenda Lee, I say yes for 161. I love Brenda Lee. I've got a few of her old records because I love some of her songs. She did a version of Hank Williams' Jambalaya on the Bayou. That's one of my favorite Hank Williams songs. I love old Hank Williams songs. I like old country, like really old country, but new country, no. And she's admired by. She has many admirers, including some of my favorite artists like Dolly Parton, Elton John, and Taylor Swift. And I'm pretty sure she sang Who's Sorry Now. She's one of those crooner type singers, and she just does really good work, and I really like her. Now, Mercedes Sosa is 160, and she looks like she's an She's an South American Mother Earth type singer. And she seems like she's like an Indian type singer. Like she's like a Native American folk singer. Is what it sounds like. And Gracias a la Vida is one of her songs. And she seems like she could be interesting to watch because she plays that drum that you fit in front of you, and it kind of like it's an Indian Native American type instrument drum thing. Then we've got Mississippi John Hurt, a rare Delta blues legend. He's 159, and he sings this chorus of Funky Butt. His father of 14. He's a father of 14 kids. And he's a really good blues singer. Okay, now 158 I stand behind because this is one of the only newer country singers that I do like. She's kind of more pop, but she's country. And she's 158's Carrie Underwood. And her song, Before He Cheats, is her most popular song, probably. But Two Black Cadillacs is one of the songs my friend used to really like by her. And she used to sing it at karaoke, and I miss her every day. I miss her. So there'll be little things that remind me of her, and I'll miss her every day. But we're going to get back on track. 157, I stand behind 1,000%, is Robert Smith of The Cure. Robert Smith is the goth Sade. I could say yes to that. Close to Me is one of my favorite songs by them. Friday I'm in Love. Love Song. If you, Just Like Heaven. Pictures of You. There's so many songs. The Lullaby. There's just, Why Can't I Be You? There's just so many songs I love that band for. I am a big Robert Smith fan and have been since I was little. Since I first seen the video for Love Song and Friday I'm in Love when I was a kid. Oh, I just loved how different he was. And his voice got me when I was a little kid, and I just got him. 156 is one of my mom's favorites, and I still like him too. But I don't really listen to him because he's not the type of country I listen to. Is George Strait himself, King George. He sings Full Hearted Memory, The Fireman, All My Exes Live in Texas, and he's a lot of people. He's very charismatic, and I do like his movie. I can't remember the name of his movie that he was in. He's very talented, and he was very, very famous for being... He was one of the biggest country singers from the 80s and 90s, and he even made it up till now. And I really like his style of... I like his voice. But I don't know. Sometimes I can't listen to that kind of music. But he's still very, very talented and deserves to be on this list. 155 is Corin Tucker. Punk is full of loud voices, but Corin Tucker's voice stands out even louder in this genre. The Skeeter Kinney singer Slater Kinney, singer, guitarist. See, a lot of those kind of people stand out more than a lot of other people. And I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. Oh, it's a girl. And she was on the Corin Tucker Band's 1,000 Years, for instance. Okay. Then we've got Dion. And he was an early 60s singer who a lot of women liked, and he was very talented. And he sang the song Teenager in Love, Run Around Sue. I love the song Run Around Sue. Abraham Martin and John. And he was a blues and R&B singer, pop singer. Very famous, and I say yes because he stands out and he's rememberable if you were around that time period. If you weren't around that time period, you won't know who he is, but if you have parents or grandparents that were around that time and they show you this music, you may fall in love with it because he is kind of catchy. Mahalathini, the Lion of Sovereign, is 153, and he looks like a South African music singer. So he's a black South African singer. Paul Simon's Graceland took that sound. I don't know anything about this artist, so we're just going to throw him in there because he's in there. 152 is Michael Stipe, and he's very memorable. He has a lot of good songs. They started in the 80s, and some of his favorite songs, best songs, were "It's the End of the World as We Know It," "Orange Crush." What's another one that people really, really, really like? Everybody Hurts. That's a band. The REM is just a band that everybody remembers. He sticks out, and he just is very charismatic in his singing, and I like him. Then Martha Reeves is number 151, and yes, she was the Motown. She was the lead singer of Martha and the Vandellas. They were like the powerful version of Diana Ross and the Supremes, which I absolutely love Diana Ross. Oh, I love Diana Ross and the Supremes. Love Diana Ross. Okay. They were both Motown artists, and Martha Reeves did that really, really great song, Dancing in the Streets, and she did the song Heat Wave. Like, your love is like a heat wave. Nowhere to Run, and she sang the song Nowhere to Run. If you like Motown, you will love, if you like that Motown sound, you will love Martha Reeves and the Vandellas because she is great. Okay. Now we're going to go to 40 to 20. Now we're going to go to 40. Oh. Why do I gotta have this happen to me? I don't know, the site's screwed up. It's not showing me anymore. I need 60 to 50. Okay. No. Hold on, we're having technical difficulty. Okay, number 60 is Mercedes Sosa. Just give me a moment. Okay, we need 150. It's not going past. I can't get 150. Okay, 150 is Brian Ferry. And Brian Ferry doesn't exactly have what you think of a classic set of pipes. And he was a stylizer of... A lot of people looked up to him, like David Bowie. And he did a song, Let's Stick Together. I'm not really sure who he is, so we're going to move on because I can't give you... Wanda Jackson's is 149, and I don't... She's the queen of rockabilly, and I don't really remember. I don't really know her music, but her popular songs were Cool Love and In the Middle of a Heartache. I'm not a rockabilly person, so I can't give opinions on her, so we're going to skip. Levin Helms was the band's only American member, and the Canadian quartet. So I'm assuming The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down was his biggest hit. And The Wait, yes. Okay, The Wait was his biggest hit. Then 147 is Barbra Streisand, and she's very charismatic, multi-talented actress, singer, yes. And she collaborated with people like Barry Gibb and Donna Summer, and was in the rock era classics, and even David Bowie. And most people from that era kind of like her, so I could say okay. Ruth Brown is 146. Mama, He Treats Your Daughter Mean is her biggest hit, and she's a jazz singer. PJ Harvey was a 90s singer, and she was 145. And I don't really remember any of her songs, but I remember her. I remember hearing about her, but I'm not really familiar with her music. She wasn't somebody I listened to. Darlene Love is 144, and her claim to fame is the Christmas song, Christmas, Baby Please Come Home. And she was in the Ronettes. Was credited to the Crystals, not Love's own group of session singers, the Blossoms. Okay. So, the only claim to fame she's really got is that Christmas song, but she's really good. Luciano is a black singer. He's known for doing backflips off the singer, and he's 143. And Sweep Over Your Soul and It's Me Again, Ja is his claim to fame. We got 142, which is Russell Thompson Jr. and People Make the World Go Round. Betcha by Golly Wow was his You Make Me Feel Brand New. Those are his songs. He's an R&B singer. I don't really listen to R&B, so I don't have an opinion on him. 141 is Christina Aguilera, and I say yes because she's very talented. But sometimes she goes a little too overboard with her stretching out these O's and A's and stuff like that. More than Mariah Carey, and that's why I kind of like Mariah Carey better. 140 is Bono. Bono has a really, really fucking unique voice, and he's very charismatic when he sings. But as a person, he's kind of overrated. But as a musician and performer, he's really good. Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses is one of their songs, and Pride in the Name of Love and With or Without You are their bigger hits that U2 had. And he's the lead singer of U2, and it's Bono, and he's 140. 139 is Rico Durcal. She's a Mexican singer, Spaniard, Mexican Spaniard singer. She's a soulful singer, and I don't know who she is, but she's 139. 138 is the king himself of country, one of the kings of country, a legend, Merle Haggard, and he sang "If We Make It Through December." He sang "Mama Tried." Lukenbach. He was part of Lukenbach, Texas. No, he was part of the Highwaymen. He sang a lot of songs with Johnny Cash. What was his other song that I really like? Okie from Muskogee. That's it. I like that song a whole bunch. And I have some of his vinyl. I have that on a 45. Okay, 137 is El DeBarge, and he is a very good singer. He was in the group DeBarge, and he had a whole bunch of good songs. And he was a good R&B singer back in the 80s, early 90s. And even Janet Jackson was married to his brother, one of his brothers, for a short period of time. 136 is some singer who was very stood out a whole bunch. 136 is Lauryn Hill from the Fugees, and she sang the song "Killing Me with Softly" and "Do Up That Thing," and was her solo song. And she had a mild solo career in 1998, and then just disappeared. She disappeared after the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, even though that was reportedly very popular. All the songs on that are good, and I actually have that, and I really like that album. But I heard she made some comments that she didn't make her music for white people, but I'm not going to get into politics like that. I just don't think that's cool. So 135 is IU, and she's a Korean singer. I think this is the second Korean singer on here. And she sang a song called "Good Day." In 2010, breakout hit "Good Day." And she sang for the Olympics in Seoul. Yeah, she's a Korean singer. Seoul. Okay, 134 is Axl Rose. And yeah, he's got a good voice. He sang "Mr. Brownstone," "Welcome to the Jungle" from Guns N' Roses. He's from the band Guns N' Roses. "Sweet Child of Mine," "Paradise City," "Patience," "November Rain." Those were his best songs, in my opinion. And he was influenced by a lot of people, and he's charismatic on stage, and he sticks out. Number 133 is someone I really like, and it's Neil Young, and he sings the song "Heart of Gold," "Ambulance Blues," "Touch of the Night," "Mellow My Mind," "Accepting to Fly," and he was in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and he had a very successful solo career, and I really like him. He sang "Rockin' in the Free World" too, and I really like that song. 132 is my mom and my favorite country singer, Loretta Lynn, and we love the song that she sings called "Fifth City." And I love "Coal Miner's Daughter" and a lot of her songs. And 132 is definitely someone who stood out, who just died last year. Fucking love her singing. Her songs are great. Her voice was 190 proof, and she was great. Next is Jeff Buckley, who sang the song "Hallelujah." He sang Leonard Cohen's song "Hallelujah," and his whole album. Check out Mojo Pin from his album Grace. It was really good. His album was really good. He died really young, and he's number 131 on our charts. And he was a good 90s singer who died young. 130 is Courtney Love. Even Courtney Love made this over Celine Dion. And she's known to have been in the band Hole, married to Kurt Cobain of Nirvana. And I like her song "Doll Parts." Celebrity Skin. Live Through This was a great album, and Pretty on the Inside. She had a lot of good stuff. And I like her band and her music. But as far as a human being, I'm not really that familiar with her. Okay, 129 is Judas Priest's Rob Halford. He is very, very good. They sing You Got Another Thing Coming, Living After Midnight, Breaking the Law, Painkillers. Even Slayer's Kerry King told Rolling Stones that his notes, and he'll hold his notes for durations that almost inhumane. It's like Eddie Vedder, Van Halen playing guitar for Robert Halford's singing. Then we got Florence Welch from Florence and the Machines, and she's 128, and I don't think I've ever listened to her, but I hear she's got really good performances. 127 is Tammy Wynette, and yes, there is a show called George and Tammy. I really want to see it really bad. It's on Showtime, and Your Good Girl's Gonna Go Bad is her claim to fame in the song Divorce and Stand By Your Man. And she was married to George Jones for quite a long time. She's a very popular singer from the 60s and 70s and 80s. She's a country singer. Donny Hathaway was 126. Closer I Get to You is his biggest song. There's a duet with Roberta Flack, and Roberta Flack's really good. Lord Help Me. Oh, and his biggest song was the song This Christmas. I knew that name sounded familiar. The one that John Legend redid. It's a very special Christmas this year. That song. Joe Strummer from The Clash is 125, and I say yes. He's got a unique voice. And The Clash's biggest song was Rock to Casbah. And London Calling is my favorite Clash song. Robert Johnson is 124, and Robert Johnson, I'm pretty 100% sure he was the first member of the 27 Club. Hellhound on My Trail, he was the one who thought that he had a hellhound following him around. I'm pretty sure there's a movie about Robert Johnson that I would like to see. If any of you know the name of this movie about Robert Johnson, please tell me the name of it. Robert Johnson is number 124. He sounds like two guitarists in one. He's a Delta Blues legend. Sweet Home Chicago and Hellhound on My Trail were his biggest hits. Karen Carpenter is a very good singer, and she's at 123. Birds, her song just sounds like birds. She's got a song, sounds like birds. We've Only Just Begun. Close to You. And Superstar is her claim to fame. Now, Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance redid Superstar, and I really like it. That's one of the songs that I like to sing at karaoke. I like her voice. Sad tragedy that she died of anorexia for starving herself, because she was very sensitive about her weight, and she was not fat. She was so beautiful soul. 122 is the disco great singer herself, Donna Summer. She sang the song Bad Girls and a whole bunch of other. I Feel Love. There's one. She works hard for her money. She just did a lot of great songs that people just absolutely love. She's very good and very charismatic and very standout performer. And she's a great performer from the 70s and 80s. Then we've got Jackie Wilson at 121, and he's good. He sings Your Love Keeps Lifting Me Higher and Higher, Baby Work Out, Lonely Teardrops, and a bunch of other great songs. Even Elvis knew why Jackie Wilson was called Mr. Excitement. He was just a little I think he was Puerto Rican. A lot of people think he was black, but I think he was Puerto Rican. I'm pretty sure he was a Puerto Rican singer. Don't quote me on that. I can't. A lot of people like him. I'm pretty sure he sang that song, Why Do Fools Fall in Love? No, that was Frankie Lyman. Never mind. That wasn't Jackie Wilson, but Jackie Wilson was good. And those songs were really good. Number 120 is Charlie Rich. And he was sometimes compared to Elvis, but he was a country singer. And he was very popular with people. I'm not really sure any of his songs or anything like that, but he was country and kind of rockabilly type style, and people really liked him. Then we got Barrington Levy at 119, and he had a poor man's style. He was a kind of, if an aircorn could sing, it would sound like him, according to this. And I don't really know any of his songs. He was kind of an 80s singer that was kind of just a R&B singer, that kind of blues, jazzy R&B singer that kind of got lost in the shuffle. 118 is the legend himself, lead singer of Creedence Clearwater Revival, John Fogerty. Yay! He made it on here. Looking out my back door, have you ever seen the rain? Bad Moon Rising? I cannot go. If I ever hear Bad Moon Rising, I have to stop and I have to listen to it. That is my favorite CCR song. That's one of my favorite songs from the 60s or 70s. I don't know when it was, but most of his hits were from 69 to 71. And when he came out with Centerfield, I love that too. That was his 80s song that he came out with. But he had so many great hits. Have you ever seen the rain? Oh my God. He's just a legend in his own right. And my mom's favorite singer. Male singer probably. 117 is Patti Smith. And she was fucking just a wonderful singer. She was like influenced by Bob Dylan and Jim Morrison themselves. And she did her album Horses in 1975. Chet Baker. Chet Baker is 116, and he's a great jazz and pop vocalist. He's a jazz pop singer, and I'm not really sure who he is, so we're going to skip him. 115 is Erykah Badu. She's an R&B singer, a bluesy, jazzy R&B hip-hop singer that is not my type of music, but as far as her voice, it's really good. She's as good as Billie Holiday and Nina Simone, according to Rolling Stones magazine. Now, Chrissy Hyde is the lead singer of the Pretenders, and she's 114. And the Pretenders, she covered tunes by Brian Wilson, Nick Drake, and Hoagy Carmichael. And I can't remember the one song that was popular by the Pretenders. I think it was Back on the Chain Gang or something like that. Okay, guys. If you're in here, could you please say hi? La India is 113. Linda Carabello, known as La India, is known for her mighty powerful voice. I'm not really sure who she is. Mayor Wagner, so I'm assuming she sings in Latin. I'm assuming she sings in Spanish, so yes. 112 is the great lead singer, original lead singer, back to being lead singer of Black Sabbath, solo artist, metal founder, Prince of Darkness himself, Ozzy freaking Osbourne. At 112, Ozzy Osbourne is 112. Even Ozzy Osbourne's on here, and still Celine Dion ain't been on here. And he's higher than the likes of Kelly Clarkson. And this is because he's got a unique voice. very recognizable and very great with the songs like Iron Man, War Pigs, Mama I'm Coming Home, and he worked with guitar gods like Tony Iommi and Randy Rhoads, very legendary guitar players, very great, and I love them all. Then number 11 is Fiona Apple, and Criminal is the only song I know by her, but I know that she's done other stuff, and she's got jazzy type vocals for her style. And Shadowboxer is one of her early hits, and I like her vocal stylings, but as far as knowing more of her songs, no. I know she did redo a Beatles song that was pretty good. 110 is The Weeknd, and I'd give him this because he's got a Michael Jackson type voice, which is really good. And he's not here to do Luke or Vandross runs. He's here to do his own runs. And you know what? I caught my niece on Spotify. I logged into my niece's Spotify to see what she's been listening to, and she's been listening to Luther Vandross. And that song that he did with, I think it was Mariah Carey, Endless Love. I'm like, what in the world? Or she has the song and one of his duet songs on a couple of his songs on like one of her playlists. He can't do what Jennifer Hudson does, but he's pretty good. He's got some songs that are memorable, but he's got a lot of hits, and he's high up on the Spotify charts as one of the top artists. Like, he's probably in the top 10 best artists, most listened to artists on Spotify, like right now. I don't know which one, but he's been around since 2015. Tune in. The first time I seen him was when he did that song with Ariana Grande. Now, Roger Daltrey is 109, and he's from The Who. I love their whole rock opera. I like the Won't Get Fooled Again. I like the song Who Are You. There's a lot of Who songs that are really good, and I say yes. Roger Daltrey, yes, for 109. 108 is Castino Valsoso. He's a Brazilian singer, and he's like the Brazilian equivalent of Bob Dylan, I guess. And I don't really know who he is, so we're gonna skip that Lou Reed is 107, and I say yes. He's like original. He's like the one of the first few. He sings the song Wild Side, Sweet Jane, and Rock and Roll. And he's one of the originators of one of the early punk artists. 106 is Bill Withers, and Bill Withers sings the song Ain't No Sunshine, and a lot of people know him, and he's said to be almost as good as Stevie Wonder. He's almost as popular as Stevie Wonder. He does another song called Grandma's Hands and Use Me, but Ain't No Sunshine is his most popular song, and I agree. And I agree that song's really good. So I say yes, Bill Withers is really good. But I don't really know a lot of his songs. But Eddie Vedder is now 105, and I like his unique style of voice. I love his song Daughter. I love Alive, Hunger. I love when he was with Temple of the Dogs for the song Hunger Strike with Chris Cornell. They went back and forth. Like, he would be singing like lead, and Chris Cornell would be like in the background, and it was such a good time. He has got Pearl Jam was just iconic in the 90s. It's one of my favorite bands from the 90s. It's not my favorite band from the 90s, but it's one of the top bands from the 90s, and I give him props for that, and yes. Aaron Neville's 104, and I say yes because his voice is very unique. He was part of the Neville Brothers before he was solo. He sang in the song Don't Know Much with Linda Ronstadt. That was a very good song. He had really good songs. I can't remember some of his solo songs titles, but he had stuff that was real memorable and really, if you hear his voice and you've heard his voice before, you'll remember his voice. He's very memorable. Leonard Cohen is 103, and he's the guy who originally did the song Hallelujah that everybody loves and redoes. And it's one song that for the Taylor Hawkins tribute in California, Dave Grohl's daughter Violet, his oldest daughter Violet, did that version, did Jeff Buckley's version of that song, and it was so good. She's going to have a career in music. She is so talented. But we got Miss Taylor Swift at 102, Miss Taylor Swift herself. I love her new album. I loved her first album. I loved her second album. I like the country version of Taylor Swift. That was when I was still into country music. When me and my ex broke up, I listened to her album so much. Her first album so much. It helped me through it. It made me feel okay about it. And what made me feel okay is that I knew that it wasn't a situation we should be in. So yeah. Then my favorite Taylor Swift song is probably her first single, Tim McGraw. Gladys Knight is 101, and Gladys Knight in all her glory is my aunt's flippin' favorite Motown singer, and I'm pretty sure Gladys Knight was Aaliyah's aunt. Gladys Knight was Aaliyah's aunt, and she was in the vocal group Gladys Knight and the Pips, and she sang the song Midnight Train to Georgia, and that was a great song. Then number 90, who's number 100 is one of my probably favorite LGBTQ singer ever. Sings my number 2 favorite song ever, Tiny Dancer, is Mr. Elton John. 100 is someone I adore. I adore Mr. Elton John. I think he's very talented, very charismatic, a standout musician, and everybody who likes that type of music likes him. I love him, and I give him props. Clyde McFlatter is number 99. Was a thrill a minute, a shot in the arm? Okay. He's an emotional singer, and doesn't really recommend. And he did a version of White Christmas, and you can draw a line from Frankie Lyman to Michael Jackson to Justin Timberlake. He led 2 of the best vocal groups of the decade, joining the Dominoes, and then founded the Drifters. Also, he's part of the Drifters, and he was in the Dominoes, which was Eric Clapton's group that he was in. Derek and the Dominoes. 198 is Bob Marley, and Bob Marley is the only reggae person that's been on this group. But Bob Marley has a lot of standout songs, and he's probably the only reggae artist that I really like. I'm really not a big reggae fan, but I do like Bob Marley. I do have a stand for Bob Marley. 197 is Usher, and I can see why. Usher is really a standout dancer and performer, and that makes him stand out as a singer and lets you hear his vocals because you want to see everything that he does. And he was an R&B heartthrob back in the 90s and early 2000s. 96 is Chuck Berry, and Chuck Berry was the originator of rock and roll. The first real rock and roll type artist that people know. And he's got a song called Memphis, Tennessee, and You Can Never Tell, and Run Run Rudolph. He's just got so many songs, and he was just captivating to listen to. Vincente Fernandez is 195. And I'm assuming he's a Latin singer. Don't know much about him. And his artistic peak was in 1989. And that's all I can tell you. I don't know anything about him. Toots Hibbert is a reggae pioneer. Toots Hibbert possessed the... he's number 94. And 5446, that's my number, was his biggest hit, and Sweet and Dandy. 93 is someone I absolutely adore. I think she's very talented. Made that group what they were. The lead singer and she's influenced Harry Styles and Florence Welch themselves. And people from Lorde to Sheryl Crow to Courtney Love have all been influenced by her. Miss Stevie Nicks, Gold Dust Woman, Sarah, Dreams. A lot of their songs are my favorite. I love the song Rhiannon. Just love Stevie Nicks. Fleetwood Mac would not be what they are today if it wasn't for Miss Stevie Nicks. She's a wonderful, memorable singer. You'll never forget her once you know her. 92 is Anita Baker, and I thought she was kind of just okay. She's basically just an R&B jazz singer. Gospel, R&B jazz type of singer. And Sweet Love is the only song I can even remember by her. 91 is Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Or Ali, no, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. My Elvis, Jeff Buckley called him my Elvis. When I sing with the depth of my heart, I think was one of his songs. Okay, 190 is Gail Costa. And Gail Costa was a 70s singer who had a few hits. But we don't know who she is. So 89 is the very talented, very loved Latino singer who sang Tahino music, and she was very about ready to break out into pop music because that's what she wanted to do, but she was more popular doing her Tahino music that her dad pushed upon her, and she loved singing, so she did it and became very popular, and then was murdered as Miss Selena. There's so many good Selena songs, and she was so popular in the 90s. If you listen to Tahino music, you know who she is. But when she made Dreaming of You and If I Could Fall in Love with You, those were her two pop songs that made her. That's when I first started liking her, and I was so sad when she died because I started really liking her, and then she was gone. Her manager murdered her. Jimmy Rogers is number 88, and Jimmy Rogers is Amazingly Sly One. He Crackle of Age Select, and his blues yodeling series, so he's kind of a country type singer. And I'm not really familiar with him, so we're going to move on. 87 is the queen herself, Miss Diana Ross, and I love her. I love all the songs she did with the Supremes. I love Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Love Hangover. What's that one song? Inside Out or Upside Down. No, it's Upside Down. She was a diva like Janet Jackson, paving ways for divas like Janet Jackson. Anybody that gets into music definitely loves her so much. And she was a big influence for number 86, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, when he was a little kid, absolutely loved Miss Diana Ross just as much as I did. When he came out, he sang I Want You Back when he was with his brothers in the Jackson. He was very influenced by James Brown, and he was into bubblegum type music, and he was one of the members of Motown Records, and Berry Gordy really took him under wing, and he done Wanna Be Starting Something, Human Nature, Bad, Beat It, Thriller. Thriller was like the number 1 selling album of all time, and that was just so great. Number 85 is one of my favorite country singers, probably. The Elvis of country music, probably. Mr. Johnny fucking Cash. Folsom Prison Blues, Hurt. When he redid Hurt by 9 Inch Nails, that was great. He sang the song One Piece at a Time. Folsom Prison Blues. What's the other song he did? I Walk the Line. There's just so many. My cousin just bought me a new Johnny Cash shirt from the Johnny Cash Bar and Grill in Nashville, and I'm going to be wearing that shirt. He was 50s, and he started by touring with Elvis, and he met country legend June Carter, and they got married and had kids and performed together and did several songs together, and they were just great talents. Lada Mangeshkar is number 84, and I think she's the melody queen, and she's crystalline, girlish. She had a girlish voice, and she was Indian pop singer, and she was somebody I don't know, because I don't know a lot of these foreign groups unless they're like English. So we're gonna skip her because I don't have a lot to say about her. But Amy Winehouse was really good, and she's a member of the 27 Club, just like that one singer I mentioned, John something or other. But she had a 50s and 60s style into her music. And she had a lot of turmoil in her life, and she was kind of an alcoholic. But she's number 83, Amy Winehouse. Rich and smoky tones with her nostalgic and timeless type of music. Her music was kind of timeless. I know a lot of people that really fucking like her. I know my uncle likes her. I caught him listening to her one day, and she's good. 82 is Steve Perry, and he's a legend in his own rights. He was very influenced by Sam Cooke and the Drifters, and he had a smoky yet soaring belt to his voice. Don't Stop Believin', Open Arms, Faithfully, and Separate Ways, Worlds Apart are his most known songs. And he was in the group. Steve Perry was known for being the founding member or known to be the lead singer of Journey. And he was very good. J.O. Gilberto is number 81, and I don't know who he is. He must be another bossa nova singer. And he's known for doing bossa nova music. Number 80 is Chris Cornell, and he's a legend. Whether it's on Temple of the Dogs, Hunger Strikes with Eddie Vedder, to being on Soundgarden's Burden in My Hand. Beautiful singing voice. Awesome singer. There's so many songs that Soundgarden did that I just... Especially the song Spoon Man. I really love that song. Emmylou Harris is number 79. I think I might have an Emmylou Harris record. I'm not sure. But she's very charismatic and memorable. And she's a country singer, bluegrass country singer. And her claim to fame is the song I Still Miss Somebody and Together Again. She narrator. She was the narrative of Orphan Girl by J.B. Number 78 is one of my favorite singers of all time. She's really bluesy, and I don't really like blues that much, but she's really bluesy, and I like her songs so much, and I have her greatest hits on vinyl. It's Janis Joplin herself. She was B.B. King even said, oh, and she was originally in Big Brother and the Holding Company, and she died in 1970. Exactly 52 months, in less than 5 years, she became a legend. She was so talented. Crybaby, Another Piece of My Heart, Me and Bobby McGee, and she died right before that album was released. That album, her album Pearl, was her best album. It's the album that made her who she was, and she was gone before you'll ever remember. Before she, I think she played Woodstock, but I can't say 100% sure. I know Hendrix did, but that was good. Number 77 is Bruce Springsteen. And he starts out like Roy Orbison chewing gum and then turns into Wilson Pickett on a motorcycle. All I really remember him for is Born in the USA and some other stuff. And the only thing I really remember is he had what's her face from Friends, Courtney Cox, in his first one of his videos. Wilson Pickett is number 76. Wilson Pickett's a very good old R&B from the 60s. He's got a lot of songs. They don't really name any songs that were really popular by him, but I know Wilson Pickett was he stood out. He was a very outstanding and all that. D'Angelo was number 75, and his song Brown Sugar is probably the only song I remember by him. He has a lot of songs, but I don't really know much about him. I think he might have been on Motown. And he was more R&B. And that's not my type of music very much, so I like very few R&B artists. So 74 is Patti LaBelle, and Patti LaBelle stood out in the likes of the LaBelles when she first started with the song Lady Marmalade, and she came out and did the song with Michael McDonald called On My Own, and she was a standout, great vocals, she's in the ranks of Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, and what's that singer that sings Midnight Train to Georgia? Now I can't remember her. My aunt really fucking loves her. That song, Midnight Train to Georgia. Gladys Knight. She's in the ranks with Gladys Knight and them. Hector Lavoe is number 73, and he is a Puerto Rican singer. And I don't know much about Puerto Rican singers, so we're going to skip him because I don't know much about it. Muddy Waters is a very good blues singer, and he's number 72. I'm a country blues singer is what he was. Hoochie Coochie Man was probably one of his biggest hits. And Mannish Boy. Number 71 is one of my mom's favorite singers. Some of him songs are okay, but it's not like he was Elvis. Elvis called him the greatest singer in the world, and Chris Christopherson said one of the most beautiful voices in history to ever record. Only the Lonely, Crying in Dreams, Pretty Woman, and he was part of the Traveling Wilburys with the likes of Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Tom Petty, and the lead singer of Electric Light Orchestra. Ronnie Spector is number 70, and Ronnie Spector was part of the Ronettes, and she just did a lot of good stuff with the Ronettes, like Be My Baby, and she did a version of Johnny Thunders' You Can't Put Your arms around a memory. Number 69 is JoshuaDangerExp. And his early recordings was in the late 70s with the band Ipsy Under. I don't really know. He must be a Latin singer. And I'm not really sure anything about him. But move on. Number 68 is Rihanna. And I love Rihanna. Just love her. Her song Umbrella is one of my favorite songs ever. I love the song S&M. Only Girl in the World. There's so many good songs. She's so talented and so charismatic that you will not forget her. She's totally unforgettable. I don't think she'll ever be forgotten. Number 67 is Dennis Brown, and Dennis Brown sings the song No Man is an Island, and he was a child star. His first hit was in 1969, and he died at 42. David Ruffin is number 66, and I Wish It Would Rain. He sings the song I Wish It Would Rain. And it was a cover of, I think that was a cover of the Temptations song. He worked on hits like Ain't Too Proud to Beg, Beauty Is Only Skin Deep, and My Girl. Rufus was an Earthbound anchor for... Oh! David Ruffin is a member of... Okay. Now I get it. David Ruffin is a talented mother fricker. He was one of the founding members of the Temptations. Now we're getting somewhere with that one. 65 is the talented mother of Maya Rudolph, Minnie Riperton. She was a beautiful songbird. Inside My Love and Loving You were her only two big hits that she had in the 70s. She inspired artists like Mariah Carey and still remains a classic of her own, but she had a hard time writing. If she could have got some good songs written behind her, she would have gotten more popular, but she ended up with cancer and dying. And we love her. Beautiful, beautiful whistle notes and beautiful voice. I love her. 64 is Bjork, and she's from the Icelandic group Sugar Cubes. She's very, very popular. I don't really remember any of her songs, but she was jazzy, cabaret, trip hop, electric music, just all kinds of weird rock music all in one. 63 is Led Zeppelin's own Robert Plant, and you know that he's a legend. Immigrant Song, Kashmir, Going to California, Stairway to Heaven, Whole Lot of Love, my mom's favorite, Dire Maker. Oh God, just amazing. Amazing, one of the best rock vocalists probably of all time. 62 is George Michael. He started out with Wham and became a solo artist and did Careless Whisper, Prayers of Time, Somebody to Love, Freedom, Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, Faith. Just, he had a lot of great songs, and he was very, very popular for years. Kathathonium is number 61, and I don't know, is an Egyptian star represented here. It's the first Egyptian star on this list. She's a singer, soulful singer, and she had a soul of a span of Arab world, and that's it. All I know about her. Number 60 is Kate Bush. Kate Bush was only 15 when she recorded a demo tape that made its way to Pink Floyd's David Gilmour, and she got a record deal. This woman, Running Up That Hill, and Wild Man. She sings that popular song from everybody's favorite Netflix series, Stranger Things, Running Up That Hill. The one that they're trying to save their friend with. Howlin' Wolf. Smokestack Lightning was one of his songs. He sounds like he's a blues singer, and he's number 59. Tom Waits once said that the entire state world would crumble into a pillow for a year and never get there. 58 is the fabulous, very extremely talented Lady Gaga. She sings Bad Romance, Poker Face, You and I, Alejandro. She sang with the greats like she sang with the great Tony Bennett. My dad loves that. Stephanie Germanotta is her real name, and she is very talented. I love the song 911. I like Rain on Me that she did with Ariana Grande. I just love Lady Gaga. She's so fucking talented. I can't even express how much I love her. Brian Wilson is number 57. Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, California Girls. Oh my God, there's just so... Wouldn't It Be Nice? Oh, there's so many good songs. California Girls. Surfing Safari. Just so... Little Old Lady from Pasadena. I just cannot... Just so many songs that I absolutely love by the Beach Boys. I have a couple of cassette tapes, and the only cassette tapes I own are 2 Beach Boys cassette tapes. I love Brian Wilson. I think he's talented, but if you know, here's a little fact I learned from watching a movie about him. He was schizophrenic. Barry White is number 56, and he has the most unique singing voice. You will always know his singing voice. Him and what's his face that does the voice of Chef on South Park. Those two are very similar. But Barry White, you will always recognize. You Can't Get Enough of Your Love is his biggest hit. He was a character on The Simpsons once. Just so fucking good. Very good for an R&B singer, R&B pop singer. 55 is the fabulous Tina Turner. Nutbush City Limits, Proud Mary, Private Dancer. What's Love Got to Do with It? We Don't Need Another Hero. She's just the queen of rock and roll and pop. And her raspy singing voice is so soulful and beautiful. We have to give her props. She is the queen of probably one of the best black singers of all time. And one of the most influential, I would have to say. Willie Nelson is number 54. The redheaded stranger himself. Very good. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain is one of his best songs. On the Road Again. He sang with the Highwaymen. He sang with Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson sang with Waylon Jennings, who's another country legend. He was one of the most popular 70s outlaw country singers ever. He sang with Waylon and Willie and the Boys, and he sang with Waylon and Merle. Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard and Chris Christopherson did a ton of shit with him. And he's done 53 studio albums. He's worked for decades. He's 80-something or almost 90, and he's still a legend. Even his grandkids sing. He's got the Nelson Family Band. He sings with his granddaughter, and he's just so talented and so memorable. Miriam Makeba was a foundation of vocal personality. She could scat and swing on the township jazz hit Pata Pata. So I'm not really sure who she was. She made a song famous from the movie Come Back, Africa. She's a South African musician living under apartheid. Okay. I'm not really sure who she is, but she's dead. 52 is the very popular Mick Jagger from one of the most popular groups of all time. Probably one of the most influential groups. Not the, probably one of the most influential bands of the 60s, and one of the top artists of bands of all time. The Rolling Stones is Mick Jagger, and Can't Get No Satisfaction. Oh, my favorite, Paint It Black, Goodbye Ruby Tuesday. Very talented, very, 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 very entertaining to watch perform. Number 51 is a jazzy social Nigerian-born fashion designer who crossed over into music. Rose out of London's new romantic scene. She's kind of like she was kind of in the time period. She came out in the time period with the song Smooth Operator, The Sweetest Taboo, Your Love is King, Kiss of Life. She's a very, very good singer. I love her. The number 51 is Sade. She's got that beautiful, beautiful voice. She came out about the time when Boy George and Culture Club were very popular. We're at 51 right now. Give me a second. I have to take a breath. Number 50 is Joni Mitchell. And Joni Mitchell was a very, very, very talented folk singer from the 60s. She probably might have even performed at Woodstock, but I'm not sure. I don't remember any of her songs in particular. I wasn't really a fan. I wasn't a great big folk singer, folk music fan. I wasn't really a big fan of hers and listened to much of her music, but I know she influenced a lot of people, and a lot of people in the 60s, especially the hippies, really, really liked her. She does have a good singing voice. 49 is Rod Stewart. I'm not a big fan of Rod Stewart, but I did like his song Forever Young. He has vocals like Sam Cooke, and he was kind of a mod-looking rocker. Maggie May is one of his most popular songs. My mom likes him. Older people like him, but Generation Xers, most of them don't like him. It's the people that were teenagers. It's the people that were teenagers in 1970s, not the babies. Like the late teenagers that really liked him. Most younger people don't like him. Most people in their 40s, you have to be like in your 60s to like him. That's the fan base he has. 48 is Toni Braxton. And Toni Braxton's first album, solo album, is one of the first albums. It's the first real, actual album I bought on CD, and I like her. Breathe Again, on Break My Heart. She's got great singing voice. Her voice is like melodic, and I like it. That kind of singing voice. 47 is Linda Ronstadt herself, and she's a country rock. She did country and rock in both. And she did the song Blue Bayou was her biggest hit. I can't remember any other Linda Ronstadt songs, but I know I like her, and I think I might have one of her vinyls, but I'm not sure. But I really liked her singing voice, and it's sad that she's too sick to sing now. But she's really old, so it's time her to take a break and retire. Mavis Staples is number 46, and I'll Take You There was her biggest hit, and she was like from the band the Staple Singers. And she's very talented, and that song's pretty memorable. If you've ever heard I'll Take You There, dude, ain't nobody crying. That song, that's the song she sings. People love that song. Ella Fitzgerald is number 45. Ella Fitzgerald is a very, very talented jazz singer. She's a deeply memorable all the way to her 60s. A Tisket, a Tasket with Chick Webb's Orchestra was one of her things that she did. She would just had that very beautiful voice. She's kind of like a Billie Holiday in that aspect. Then we've got James Brown at number 44. James Brown is very good. I got you, and I feel nice. Da 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 da. There's just a lot of good. I gave my mom a James Brown CD one time because I know how much my mom likes him. My mom loves James Brown. She loves that soul kind of type of music from the 60s. It's funny. She goes from listening to old country to that. I love my ma. You can't. Ariana Grande made number 43 and she has the song Seven Rings, God Is a Woman. There's just so many good stuff she did. People love her, and she's known as to have a vocal stylings of Mariah. She has the same type of vocal range. Well, she has the type of vocals stylings as Mariah Carey, but I noticed, can't go as... She doesn't have the low tones. This is what I like about Mariah Carey versus her better. She's only got 4 octaves, where Mariah Carey's got the really, really low tone. This is what gets me about Mariah Carey. She's got the super low tones and then the really high, where she's got medium lows. She can go medium lows. She's like Jimi Hendrix with the guitar, but with her vocals. She's got some good stuff, and she's charismatic, and that's what makes her stand out. Teddy Pendergrass is number 42, and I think I had a Teddy Pendergrass record. I might have gave it to Twisted J, but he's a bluesy R&B singer, and I'm not really into that kind of music, so that didn't fit my style of what I like. Now, number 41 is what the movie Cadillac Records was about. This singer, Etta James. I'm pretty sure Beyonce played Etta James in that movie in the song. At Last was her biggest hit, and it was Stay, and it's memorable, and a lot of people remember that song and know that song to this day. Even young people know that song. It's a very, very, very romantic song, and it's a good song to play at your wedding. Number 40, this singer broke my heart when she died. Aaliyah. I love you, Aaliyah. Back in One Piece. Are You That Somebody? Rock the Boat. More Than a Woman. She had so many good songs. I had to buy her vinyl. I got her on vinyl because Aaliyah is my favorite R&B singer. R&B/pop singer, and she is one of my favorites. When she tragically died at 22, I was 21 when she died. She was born in January and I was born in August. That's the only age difference we have. She was just a staple in the 90s and very early 2000s. She didn't make it much into the 2000s. When she started acting, I loved everything she did. I was so sad when she couldn't be in The Matrix, because that probably would have made me want to watch it. Everything Aaliyah did, I was just amazed by her dancing and singing and everything. And that she's so talented, and it just broke me when she died. Louis Armstrong's What a Wonderful World was a very good song, and he's number 39. He was popular in the era. He started in 1931. Louis Armstrong is just a fabulous musician. Mac the Knife. He had so many good music. He was a horn. He played the trumpet, and his vocals were just a like raspy tone, and I loved it. Curtis Mayfield is number 38, and Victims of Ghetto, Unpushman, Billy Jack, I'm not really sure. He's a falsetto register. People Get Ready. I wasn't that familiar with his music, so I'm pretty sure he was good, though. Van Morrison now. I'm not a fan. Don't get me wrong. He's got a good singing voice, but his style of music is not my style of music. Don't really care for his style of music, but as far as having vocals, he had great vocals. Tupelo Honey is one of my parents' favorite songs. My mother and father love Van Morrison. He had some really good songs. His most famous song was Brown Eyed Girl. 36 is one of my all-time favorite singers from the 90s. He died in 94, and he's one of the members of the 27 Club, and it's Mr. Kurt Cobain, the lead singer of Nirvana. Mr. Dave Grohl was drummers for him, and you know how much I love. If you know me, anybody knows me, you know that I love me some Dave Grohl. In Bloom, Smells Like Teen Spirit, Come As You Are. He had such good songs. He had such a unique singing voice, and he deserves to be on this list because he wasn't like a Mariah Carey, but he was different in his own right, and he was good. He came out with a whole genre of music. He brought a whole genre of music to light and made it popular, and it kind of died with him. Like Unplugged in New York. The MTV's Unplugged in New York with Kurt Cobain was like a staple for me in my teen years. Ugh. Dusty Springfield's number 35, and she's really good. She sings that, I only want to be with you, and she said, a look of love. And she was just, what have I done to deserve this? Her 1987 hit with Pet Shop Boys. She did a song with the Pet Shop Boys in 87. She was the crooner for the song Son of a Preacher Man. I love Dusty Springfield. She has some very fucking good songs. Son of a Preacher Man might be one of my favorite songs ever. Like, I love Dusty Springfield. 37 is Tom York. Tom York he launched 1,000 Chris Martin type artists. Influenced a lot of them. Wolf at the Door, Let Down are some of his hits. I'm not really sure about Tom York, but I'm sure he was very influential, and I think I've heard of his name before, but I don't know. I've never listened to their songs. Bessie Smith is number 33, and she's the queen of soul. She was a very talented blues singer from the 20s and 30s. Made her Mahalia Jackson's favorite singer. She was Mahalia Jackson's favorite. Inspired Dinah Washington to cut tribute album to her, and moved Janis Joplin to purchase a headstone for her grave. So Janis Joplin purchased a headstone for Bessie Smith's grave. It Tain't Nobody's Business If I Do is her biggest hit, and Downhearted Blues. She had a whole movie about her, and she was played by the very talented Queen Latifah. I love Queen Latifah. She is freaking the queen. She's talented. She can sing. David Bowie is number 32, and we all know that I love David Bowie. Ziggy Stardust is one of my favorite albums. I have Changes Bowie. No! Okay. Sorry, guys. My Echo Dot that's in my bathroom is named Zizzy. I don't want to say it again because I had it named that. Young Americans is another song. Under Pressure that he did with Freddie Mercury and Queen. Space Odyssey. There's just China Girl, Let's Dance. There's so many good David Bowie songs. I love David Bowie. I'm a big David Bowie fan. Luther Vandross is number 31, and he's very, very popular. Dance with My Father was one of his favorite songs. Is one of his most popular songs. A House Is Not a Home is one of his other songs. Luther Vandross did Endless Love with Diana Ross, which... Or was it Lionel Richie? No, he did he did Endless Love with Mariah Carey. The original is with Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. They did the remake of that, and I can't really remember what... Here and Now was his biggest hit. Here and now, I promise to love faithfully. That song. Number 30 is one of my favorite original country singers from like the 50s. I think it's the 40s and 50s. Nearly 75 years later, he's still... It's the 70th anniversary. January 1st was the 70th anniversary of this guy's death. I remember hearing that. Hey, good looking, what you got, good cold heart. Jambalaya, Down on the Bayou, that song. There's so many good songs by him. I've got a couple greatest hits from him. I have a friend that I used to talk to that liked country music that would have me play that record for him when I went live on LiveMe. And that person died, so whenever I listen to that, it reminds me of him. But anyways, this is great. Great singer. And very influential to country fans all over the world. Number 29 is the awesomest singer from Ruckus, Chaka Khan. She has a whole album called I Feel For You, and she sang for the band Rufus on the song, and I'm Every Woman's one of her biggest songs, and the song she sang with Rufus is Tell Me Something Good. Tell me something good. Just awesome. Number 28 is Mahalia Jackson, and she's just a blues singer, a gospel blues singer. And Take My Hand, Precious Lord was her biggest hit. Did It Rain? She influenced a lot of singers back in the day, 50 years ago, influenced a bunch of singers to start. And number 27 is my favorite female country singer, probably, or one of my favorites. My favorite female, at least, or one of my top favorites. Is number 27's Dolly Parton. Got Jolene. Here You Come Again. Why'd You Come In Here Looking Like That? 9 to 5. Love Is Like a Butterfly. I Will Always Love You. She is so talented. She's got the sweetest singing voice. And through her singing voice, you can tell that she's the absolute sweetest of a sweetheart. She's like a cross between Tiny Tim and an angel. She sings like an angel. She just sounds like an angel to me. I love listening to her sing. Number 26 is one of my favorite singers of all time. It's Mr. Paul fucking McCartney. Paul McCartney is fucking amazing. I saw her standing there. Band on the Run. One of the original was one of the founding members with John Lennon him and John Lennon formed the Beatles. And he's the one that brought in George Harrison, and then they found Ringo all together. And Helter Skelter, Yesterday, Hey Jude, just so many great songs came from that band. And they influenced so many musicians, and they're so fabulous. Number 25 is Mary J. Blige, and I say yes because she's got a great voice. I'm Going Down is probably her best vocal performances of her life and her song and her life of her career. And she just anybody who can really sing and can pull that song off is worthy of being a singer, because that's like a really hard song to sing, and it's very good. Number 24 is the country legend George Jones. Why Baby Why was one of his biggest songs. He Stopped Loving Her Today. There's just so fucking many good songs by him. Tennessee Whiskey is one of my, that's my favorite. That and David Allan Coe's version of Tennessee Whiskey are my favorite. I don't really care for the Chris Stapleton version, but I love his. White Lightning. He has so many good songs. Smokey Robinson is number 23, and he deserves to be on here. Ooh Baby Baby. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles were so good. I do have a Smokey Robinson record. I love him. It's got the song Tracks of My Tears is another one that Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. I did get my mom a Smokey Robinson CD because she likes Smokey Robinson too. He's a good Motown artist. Being With You is like one of his most popular songs. I think that's the album I have, I think. I'm pretty sure. Number 22 is Adele. I don't care for Adele's style of singing. I'm not a big fan, but I know a lot of people like her, so that's probably why she's on here. She's very charismatic, I guess. She'd have to be to make it on here. But I know there's a lot of singers that I like better than her. I probably wouldn't have put her that low. Number 21 is Nina Simone, and she's one of the most popular of all time blues singers, and she sang Feeling Good. Ain't Got No, I Got Life is one of her other. She sang her rendition of Hairs. She was in the 70s, and she even she did a performance of Janis Ian's Stars to also. Then number 20 is the marvelous Marvin Gaye, whose dad shot him, but he sang Let's Get It On, Sexual Healing. I Heard It Through the Grapevine. I know he has another song. He was good friends with Diana Ross, and when he died, she did a song Missing You for him, and it's tributed to him. And they did a couple songs together. Number 19 is the fabulous Mr. Blue Eyes, Old Blue Eyes himself, Frank Sinatra. I've Got You Under My Skin, My Way, New York, New York. Fly Me to the Moon. I have a few of his vinyls. I like him. He's my dad's favorite singer, and Mr. Old Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra. Celia Cruz. Ooh, she kind of looks like Aretha Franklin a little bit. She's in power of Afro-Cuban centennial songs from her childhood. She became a star in New York City, showcasing her endless charisma, and I'm not really sure who she is. I'm not that familiar with her. Number 17 is the king of rock and roll himself, Mr. Elvis Aaron Presley, and his first number one U.S. pop and R&B and country charts in 1956 with Don't Be Cruel, That's Alright Mama, Can't Help Falling in Love, Jailhouse Rock, Suspicious Minds, Burnin' Love. He has so many big hits, and he's loved by so many. I like him as a musician, but as an actual person, he was pretty shitty to people. The way he treated Priscilla, I can't stand behind. Number 16 is my favorite, one of my all-time favorite artists. Very, 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 very dear to my heart. Like, dear, dear to my heart. Like, as far as being a great performer, great guitar player, great singer, Mr. Prince. Adore, Purple Rain, When Doves Cry, Kiss, Raspberry Beret, I Would Die for You, If I Was Your Girlfriend, Diamonds and Pearls. There's just so many songs that I love by him. I have like 3 or 4 of his vinyls. I just love him. There's nothing bad I could say about him other than I heard he was a jerk to people. Kevin Smith almost did a documentary about him, but then he shut it down. If he was lucky, he could try to get it put out. Number 15 is Bob Dylan. Like a Rolling Stone, If Not For You. Knocking on Heaven's Door. Dust in the Wind. Hey, he sings the song Tambourine Man. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, play a song for me. Yeah, he's very talented. He was a folk singer in the 60s, and people love him. And I think he still does new music today. Number 14 is the Mr. LGBTQ's Queen, Freddie Mercury. Bohemian Rhapsody, Another One Bites the Dust, which is my favorite. The Show Must Go On, Somebody to Love, Bicycle, We Are the Champions, Another One Bites the... We Are the Champions, We Will Rock You. All kinds of great songs by Queen. Queen is one of people's favorites. Number 13 is probably one of my favorite old country singers, Patsy Cline. Just love her. I love the stories of her friendship with Loretta Lynn, because she brought Loretta Lynn out of her shyness and showed her that she's a very talented woman, and it broke Loretta Lynn's heart when Patsy Cline died in that plane crash. Crazy. Willie Nelson wrote Crazy for her. That was awesome. I Fall to Pieces. Was one of my favorites. There's so many good songs by Patsy Cline. Sweet Dreams is the name of the movie about Patsy Cline. Then there's a movie called Patsy and Loretta on Netflix. If you've never seen that, go watch it. Fucking amazing. I love that movie. Just a fabulous movie. What's it? Walking After Midnight. Oh. There's just so many good songs that she sang, that she had romantic fever at 13. Her voice was just awesome. You know, actually, there's a story about the song Blue by Leanna Rimes that was written for Patsy Cline. But Patsy Cline died and they shoved it under because they couldn't find somebody who had the same type of voice. They needed a Patsy Cline type of voice, and that's the first person they found that had that same type of style. Number 12 is John Lennon. And John Lennon was one of the founding member of the Beatles. Instant Karma was one of his solo songs. He sang so many songs with the Beatles. I already named them when we talked about Paul McCartney. He then joined the Plastic Ono Band with his then wife. One of my favorite songs that they do together is Everybody's Got Something to Hide Except for Me and My Monkey. I love that song. We All Shine On. Imagine. He just did such good songs. Darling Boy. Was it Darling Boy or Beautiful Boy? He did a song called Woman, written to his wife. He's just a legend, and I dearly love John Lennon. Little Richard is number 11, and Little Richard deserves to be number 11 because Long Tall Sally, Good Golly Miss Molly, there's a bunch of other songs. His content of his character, and I'm pretty sure he's LGBTQ too, but he was so R&B punk, screaming and foreshadowing. Everyone from Prince to Iggy Pop loved him. Little Richard was a mix of pop, R&B, punk, rock, all in one, and it was just outstanding. Once you know who he is, you won't forget him. Number 10 is an R&B, Motown, soul-y type singer. And he sings the song Let's Stay Together. It's the Mr. Al freaking Green, and he is fabulous. I have Al Green's greatest hits. I think he sings the song Joy. I can't remember his other song. I like his other big hit too, but I can't remember the name of it right off the bat. I do like Al Green, and my mother is the one that got me into liking Al Green. My mother really likes Al Green. Number 9 is another artist I think my mother likes, Mr. Otis Redding. He covered the Rolling Stones' I Can't Get No Satisfaction and the Beatles' A Hard Day's Night, but he had his own songs like Try a Little Tenderness, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was his most popular song. Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was probably his most popular song, and I know my mother really loves that song. Number 8 is Beyonce. I'm not a Beyonce fan, but she is charismatic, and she does command an audience, and does really, she was influenced by Prince, Tina Turner, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Donna Summer, and more. And she started out in Destiny's Child. I did like her, but for the reasons of her personality, beyond that, that's why I don't like her. But I really don't like her style of music. It's not mine. But Stevie Wonder is number 7, and I love him. A lot of people love him. My mom loves him. I love him. Probably my Aunt Rita loves him too. You are the sunshine of my life. I just called to say I love you. You haven't done nothing. Living for the city. Oh, I love that song. What's that one song? He does a song that's in that movie with the penguin, Happy Feet. Oh, I love that song too. I have Isn't She Lovely and My Cherie Amour are probably 2 of my favorite songs that he did, and I love them. Number 6 is the fabulous Ray Charles. Oh, he was so good. He was on the same record label, I think, as Aretha Franklin. I have a record. I think he was on Atlanta Records. I'm pretty sure. And he was very, very good. R&B, pop, jazz, and country alike. His style, he pulled that all into one with songs like Georgia on My Mind, I Got a Woman, Hit the Road Jack. I think Hit the Road Jack was my favorite that he did. Number 5 is my absolute 100% absolute hands down favorite artist of fucking all time. She started since 1990 with her first album Vision of Love. It's Miss Mariah Carey. I love Candy Bling, Honey, Always Be My Baby. That's my personal favorite, is Always Be My Baby. Candy Bling, Ribbons, Fantasy, Obsessed. There's so many songs I could go on and on about her all day because I just fucking love her. I love how high she can make her voice go and how low she can make her voice go. And how when she does her album, all the background vocals, she refuses to put background singers on there. She does the backgrounds for them. And I love the fact that Trey Lorenz is still her background singer. Even after all these years, she's had the same background singer, and he's one of her best friends. Number 4 is the fabulous Billie Holiday. Now, I love the movie Lady Sings the Blues. She had other jazz vocal legends like Sarah Vaughan and Ella Fitzgerald thrived on refinement. Billie Holiday privileged emotional truth. They loved her. I Loves You, Porgy was one of her songs. I can't really remember any of her songs off the top of my head, but when I hear her sing, she's got a beautiful voice, and you can kind of recognize it. Number 3 is Sam Cooke. Now, Sam Cooke, I think, was murdered. Was one of those musicians that was murdered, but he did this song, Cupid, draw back your bow. He was inspired by hearing Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind. And You Send Me and Wonderful World were 2 of his other songs. He had a lot of really, really good songs in the 50s. And he was gospel, R&B, and pop oriented. It doesn't say when he died, but I know he died being murdered, because there's a whole documentary about him on Netflix, I think, or one of those streaming sites. 2, Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston got famous before she ever did the movie The Bodyguard. But the song I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton approved it first. And when Dolly Parton first heard it, she liked it. She was okay with it. She loved it. I seen Dolly talking about how she redid that song and how she never heard that song, the remake of it, until it was on radio, and she loved it. She liked it, and she didn't realize what it was. And then when she realized what it was, she goes, "That's my song." You know how Dolly talks. I can't even talk like Dolly. But I Want to Dance with Somebody, How Will I Know, So Emotional, I'm Your Baby Tonight. There's just a bunch of Whitney Houston songs. I used to be a big Whitney Houston fan back when I was a kid. I loved her. And number 1 is the Queen of Soul, Miss Aretha Franklin herself. Respect. Chains. Mary J. Blige said she's the reason why women want to sing. If you've got a voice like her, go for it. She died a few years ago, I think. She did a song with even Lauryn Hill. She did a song with Whitney Houston also. She was a gospel singer mostly, and some of her most popular songs were just I think Respect was just a remake of somebody else's song, but she did it so much better. She's the reason that women love. I can tell you, any real music lover likes Aretha Franklin. How could you not like Aretha Franklin? She's the queen of queens, the queen of music, and influenced so many people like Mariah Carey, probably, Lauryn Hill, Whitney Houston, Janet, all of the greats that came after her were influenced by her, because anybody would. How could you not? There's a movie about her called Aretha, and it's very good. I think it's called Aretha. And that's number 1. So I'm going to get off of here. if you got any questions, hit me up. And hit me up in the comments. And I will see you guys all in my next live stream. Thanks for talking. If you were watching from Twitch, my chat was messed up, so I didn't see your chat. I'm so sorry. But I want to thank you guys for watching. If you like this type of video, shoot, someone is watching from Twitch. I'm going to pull up my Twitch so I can see if I got comments. I feel so bad that I'm not, you know, a lot of people were mad that Celine Dion wasn't on that list, but a lot of people there's a lot of people that are better than her. Not because of their charismaticness and stuff. I've got to pull up my chat. I feel bad. If I didn't respond to your chat, I'm so sorry. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you're watching from here and you got any questions, you can message me. And I will, I'm live on this is the first live I've done on Twitch in a while. If there's any type of talking stream you'd like me to do on here, on Twitch, let me know, or YouTube, or TikTok Live. I do TikTok Live also. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go make a phone call, and I will talk to you all later. I'm going to get off here now, so make sure you're following me so you can watch me again. Thank you guys.